From childhood, we are told, don't make mistakes. Be the best. Don't fail. But life's greatest truth is this: no one is perfect in life. Imperfection isn't weakness. It's what makes us real, relatable, and human. This is the story of Adil, a young man who discovered that his failures and flaws were not curses. They were his greatest teachers. Chapter Fun. Childhood expectations. 6 minutes. Adil's parents wanted him to be perfect. Top of his class, never wrong, always strong. When he failed a test, he was scolded. When he made mistakes, he was compared to others. He began to fear failure more than anything. That fear followed him for years, until life taught him that failure is not the end, but the beginning of wisdom. In college, Adil tried to impress everyone, but life had other plans. He stuttered in presentations, he lost a debate, his friends laughed. For days, he avoided people. But slowly, he realized people forget your mistakes faster than you think. The one who never forgets is you. That day, he whispered to himself, I don't need to be perfect. I need to be better than yesterday. After graduation, he landed a job, but pressure followed him. He wanted to be flawless. Yet, he misfiled documents, he missed deadlines, his boss criticized him. At first, he felt worthless. But later, he realized perfection kills creativity. Mistakes fuel innovation. The best lessons were hidden in the errors he made. When Adil studied history, he was shocked. Mahatma Gandhi admitted to personal mistakes, but still led a nation. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple before returning to revolutionize it. Serena Williams lost matches, but became one of the greatest athletes. Abraham Lincoln failed in business and politics multiple times before success. Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, reminded his followers that humans are not sinless, but forgiveness and striving matter most. He realized, legends are not perfect people. They are imperfect people who refuse to quit. Scrolling social media, Adil compared himself to others. He's richer. She's happier. They're perfect. But what he didn't see were their struggles, scars, and sleepless nights. Comparison whispered, you don't have to be them. You just have to be you. Adil fell in love. At first, it seemed perfect. But misunderstandings grew. Fights happened. They both made mistakes. Eventually, the relationship ended. For months, he thought, I wasn't good enough. But later he learned no partner is perfect. No relationship is flawless. Love is about two imperfect souls learning, forgiving, and growing together. Heartbreak became his silent teacher of self-worth. Adil tried to start a small business. He invested everything. It failed. People mocked him. Friends distanced themselves. But failure taught him resilience. It whispered, failure is not opposite of success. It is part of it. He promised himself, I will rise, again and again, until I win. One day, Adil stood before the mirror. He looked at his scars, his flaws, his tired eyes, and instead of hating himself, he whispered, this is me. Not perfect, but enough. That acceptance became his greatest strength. Chapter 9. Imperfection creates connection. 6 minutes later, Adil became a mentor. He didn't hide his mistakes. He shared them openly. Surprisingly, people respected him more. Because no one connects to perfection. People connect to honesty, struggle, and truth. From his journey, Adil learned mistakes are stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. Comparison destroys joy. Focus on your own lane. Growth matters more than perfection. Love is imperfect, and that's what makes it real. Imperfection is not weakness. It's beauty. Conclusion: the freedom of imperfection. 6 minutes. Perfection is an illusion. No one is perfect in life. But here's what's real. You are stronger than your failures. You are wiser because of your mistakes. You are valuable because of your scars. So, stop chasing perfection. Start embracing growth. Because in the end, life doesn't reward the perfect. Life rewards the real. Since childhood, we're taught, be the best. Don't make mistakes. Always look perfect. But behind every smile is a hidden tear. Behind every perfect family photo is a story of fights, struggles, and survival. The truth: perfection is an illusion, imperfection is real. And in that realness lies life's true beauty. This is the story of Sarah, and through her journey, we'll discover why imperfection is not weakness, but the very heartbeat of life. Sarah wanted everything flawless: perfect grades, perfect friends, a perfect image. She worked hard. She smiled even when she was sad. She pretended to have everything under control. But deep inside, she was tired. Because chasing perfection is like chasing the horizon. No matter how far you run, you never reach it. In college, Sarah failed an exam for the first time. Everyone else seemed fine, but she felt like her world had collapsed. She sat in her room, crying, "I failed. I'm not perfect, maybe I'm not worth anything." But failure whispered, "This is not your end. This is your beginning." Chapter 30. The Mask of Perfection. 6 minutes. To hide her flaws, Sarah wore a mask. On social media she posted perfect selfies. In real life, she avoided showing her struggles. People admired her, but she felt empty. Because masks may impress others, but they suffocate the soul wearing them. One morning, Sarah walked in the park. She noticed flowers with petals missing, trees growing uneven, a bird with one broken wing, still trying to fly. And yet, it was beautiful. Life whispered, if nature doesn't need perfection to be beautiful, neither do you. Sarah began reading about great people. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, yet became a symbol of freedom. Helen Keller was deaf and blind, yet her imperfections became her voice to inspire millions. Nick Vujicic, born without limbs, taught the world courage. Oprah Winfrey, abused in childhood, turned pain into power. Stephen Hawking, trapped in a wheelchair, explored the universe. She realized their greatness came not in spite of imperfections, but because of them. Sarah fell in love. At first, it seemed like a fairy tale. But soon, disagreements surfaced. She thought love should be flawless. But her partner reminded her, love is not about perfection. It's about two imperfect people choosing each other. Again and again, she learned that real love begins when the masks come off. Sarah read about kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold. The cracks are not hidden, but highlighted. The broken part becomes the most valuable. She whispered, I am like that pot. My scars are not shameful. They are my gold. Sarah later tried to start a business. It collapsed within months. People mocked her. For days, she felt worthless. But then she remembered Edison's words. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. A failure wasn't her enemy. It was her guide. Chapter 9 Vulnerability Creates Connection. 6 minutes. When Sarah shared her failures publicly, something surprising happened. Instead of judgment, she received love. People said, "Thank you. I thought I was the only one struggling." She realized perfection isolates, but imperfection connects. By embracing her flaws, Sarah discovered 5 truths. Imperfections are proof of growth. Comparison kills joy. Love thrives in flaws, not fantasies. Failure is feedback, not final. Scars are stories of survival. Life is like music. If every note were perfect, it would be boring. The pauses, the off beats, the ups and downs, that's what makes the song beautiful. So too with us. Our struggles, scars, and mistakes make our lives a masterpiece. The beauty of life has never been in perfection. It has always been in imperfection. Every single one of us faces problems. Some big, some small, but they never seem to stop. You solve one and another appears. You escape from one, and a new one greets you the next day. And at times, it feels unfair. It feels heavy. It feels endless. Pause. Softer tone. But what if I told you, these problems are not punishments? What if I told you they are secret lessons, hidden in disguise? Lessons that shape your character, build your strength, and prepare you for the success you dream of. Today, I will tell you a story. A story of a young man searching for peace. A wise teacher who showed him the truth, and the powerful realization that problems are nothing more than lessons, waiting to be understood. Once, in a small village, there lived a young traveler. He had big dreams, but his life was filled with failures. He failed in his exams. His small business collapsed. Friends betrayed him. The person he loved broke his heart. His family expectations felt like a mountain he could not climb. Everywhere he turned, he saw problems. And the more he tried to escape, the heavier they grew. One night in frustration, he cried out, "Why me? Why do I have to carry so many problems? Am I cursed?" Pause. And maybe you felt the same. Maybe you've also asked life, "Why me?" That was the traveler's breaking point. He decided to leave his village, hoping to find a place where life would finally be easy, where problems would not exist. After walking for days, tired and hopeless, the traveler came to a riverbank. There, sitting quietly, was an old wise man watching the water flow. Traveler sat down beside him and said, "Old man, I am tired of my life. Everywhere I go, problems chase me. I want to know, when will they end?" The wise man looked at him, then pointed to the flowing river. "Do you see this river? Look at the rocks standing in its way. Do they stop the river? No. The river finds another path. Sometimes it flows around them, sometimes it flows over them, and sometimes, little by little, it shapes the rocks themselves." Paused. "This river," the wise man continued, "is your life. And those rocks are your problems. They are not there to stop you. They are not there to shape you. Without rocks, the river would never carve its path. Without problems, your life would never find direction." The traveler listened, but he was not convinced. "But old man," he said, "my problems are too heavy. They are crushing me." The wise man stood up, picked up a bag full of stones, and gave it to the traveler. "Carry this," he said. The traveler lifted it and nearly fell. It was so heavy. He cried out, "I cannot do this." But the wise man insisted, "Walk. Step by step." The traveler moved. At first, every step was painful. His back hurt, his shoulders ached, and his mind screamed to give up. But as the minutes passed, something strange happened. His body began to adjust. His legs became stronger, his grip tighter, his breathing steadier. What once felt impossible now began to feel bearable. The wise man asked, "Do you see? At first, problems feel impossible. They feel too heavy. But as you face them, you become stronger. They are not curses. They are lessons in disguise." Pause for reflection. Imagine your own life. The heartbreaks you thought you'd never survive. The failures that once shattered you. The stress that once felt unbearable. And yet, here you are, still standing, stronger than before. Every problem you carried was secretly building you. The traveler stopped and began to see clearly. For the first time, he realized his problems had shaped him. His failures taught him humility. His heartbreak taught him compassion. His struggles taught him resilience. His betrayals taught him wisdom. The wise man smiled, and to deepen the lesson, he told him stories. Once, there was a farmer who lost all his crops to a flood. He thought his life was over. But in his search for survival, he created a new irrigation method that not only saved him, but later helped thousands of farmers. Another was a woman abandoned by her husband. She cried for months, but she learned to stand on her own, to raise her children with courage, and became a leader in her community. Her pain was her greatest teacher. And remember Thomas Edison. He failed over 1,000 times before creating the light bulb. When asked about his failures, he said, "I did not fail. I only discovered 1,000 ways that did not work." His failures were his lessons. The traveler's heart began to change. For the first time, he saw problems as teachers, not enemies. The traveler turned to the wise man and said, "I understand now. My problems were never punishments. They were lessons I was too blind to see." The wise man replied, "Exactly. Problems are life's greatest disguise. They come dressed as pain, but inside, they carry wisdom. They arrive as failure, but inside, they hold growth. They look like heartbreak, but inside, they plant compassion. If you see only the disguise, you will suffer. But if you see the lesson, you will rise." Pause. The traveler's tears fell, not from sadness, but from gratitude. He finally understood, and with that, he picked up his bag of stones once again. But this time, it felt lighter. Why? Because his perspective had changed. The traveler continued his journey, no longer afraid of problems. In fact, he welcomed them, for he knew each one carried a hidden lesson. As pause, strong voice. And so do yours. Every problem in your life is a lesson in disguise. Failure teaches perseverance. Pain teaches patience. Betrayal teaches wisdom. Poverty teaches resourcefulness. And heartbreak teaches compassion. So my friend, The next time you face a problem, don't ask, "Why me?" Instead ask, "What is this teaching me?" Because one day, when you look back, you will realize your problems were never punishments. They were the very lessons that shaped your success. Remember this. Life's problems are not the end of your story. They are the disguised teachers that prepare you for the next chapter of greatness. Big opening question. Do you ever feel like life keeps testing you, over and over again? Gentle hook. What if I told you, every single problem you face is actually a lesson, a teacher in disguise? Invite the listener. Stay with me for the next hour, and I will take you on a journey, a story that will change how you see your problems forever. Young traveler is crushed by repeated failures, feels cursed by life, decides to leave home, thinking he'll escape problems. Reflection for audience. Have you ever tried to run away from your problems, only to discover they follow you everywhere? The wise man teaches through the flowing river. Rocks to problems, water life. Without rocks, water has no song, no direction, no power. Reflection. If life was too easy, would you ever grow? Would you ever discover your true strength? At Chapter 3. The Bag of Stones. 30-45 minutes. Heavy bag forces the traveler to grow strong. Symbol of how problems build endurance. Audience engagement. Think of the hardest time in your life. You thought you wouldn't survive. But here you are. Stronger than you've ever been. That problem was training you. Wasn't a story. The farmer lost crops to storms. Found new farming methods that helped others. Story 2. And the woman entrepreneur. Faced rejection after rejection. Used failures as lessons to build $1 million company. Story 3. The athlete. Injured before the biggest game of his life. Instead of quitting, he trained harder and became stronger than ever. Oprah Winfrey faced abuse and rejection before becoming a global icon. Thomas Edison go 1,000 plus failures before inventing the light bulb. J.K. Rowling, rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter changed the world. Pause, slower tone. Every great success you see today was built on a foundation of problems yesterday. Slow, intimate tone. Ask listeners to think of their biggest heartbreak, their biggest failure, their hardest challenge. Guide them to see the hidden lesson in each. Pause for silence, let them feel. Traveler's moment of realization. He now sees problems as teachers. Bag of stones feels lighter because of his new perspective. Wrap up with final lesson. Pain teaches patience. Failure teaches resilience. Betrayal teaches wisdom. Struggle teaches strength. Final words, strong delivery. Your problems are not punishments. They are the secret teachers of your success. So don't curse them. Thank them. Learn from them. Grow because of them. And one day, you'll look back and realize every problem was preparing you for greatness. We live in a world that demands perfection. Perfect grades. Perfect careers, perfect lives. But the truth is simple: nobody is perfect. Everyone learns. Life is not about avoiding mistakes. It is about learning from them. Growth is built not on perfection, but on persistence. This is the story of Hamza, a young man who discovered that his failures were not his downfall, that his teachers. Hamza grew up in a house where mistakes were punished. Spill water, scolded, fail a test, compared to others, break something, called careless. He began to fear mistakes more than anything. He thought, if I'm not perfect, I'm nothing. But life had a bigger plan for him. To show him that mistakes are the first step of learning. In school, Hamza was not the smartest. He often failed exams. His classmates mocked him. Teachers said, "You are not serious. You will never succeed." Those words hurt. But instead of quitting, Hamza decided, I may not be perfect, but I can improve. Failure became his secret classroom. Hamza's first job was tough. He made errors. His boss shouted. But instead of giving up, he kept notes of every mistake. Slowly he improved. Years later, he realized every expert was once a beginner who refused to stop learning. Hamza read biographies of people he admired. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Michael Jordan missed more than 9,000 shots, but became the greatest in basketball. Oprah Winfrey was told she was unfit for television, yet became a global icon. Abraham Lincoln lost elections repeatedly before becoming president. Marie Curie faced rejection, but her persistence gave the world scientific breakthroughs. Hamza realized their greatness didn't come from perfection, but from constant learning. Hamza often compared himself to others. They are smarter. They are richer. They are perfect. But he later learned comparison is a thief. It blinds you to your own growth. Life whispered, don't measure yourself against others. Measure yourself against who you were yesterday. Hamza fell in love, but like all human relationships, it wasn't perfect. Arguments came. Misunderstandings grew. At first, Hamza thought love was about never making mistakes. Later he learned, real love is about forgiving mistakes and growing together. Hamza tried starting a small business. It failed. People mocked him again. But instead of stopping, he treated it like school. He asked, what lesson is this failure teaching me? That shift turned his wounds into wisdom. Hamza made a decision. He would stop fearing mistakes. Instead, he would embrace learning. Every error, every setback, every failure became fuel for growth. He realized perfection is a myth. Progress is real. Later, Hamza became a mentor. Instead of showing himself as flawless, he shared his struggles. His students respected him more because they saw, nobody is perfect. Everyone learns. Chapter 1: Life's Greatest Lesson. 6 minutes. Hamza finally understood, we are born imperfect. We stumble, fall, fail. But each fall teaches us how to rise. And rising again and again. That is the true definition of success. Nobody is perfect. Everyone learns. Perfection is not the goal. Learning is. Mistakes are not shameful. They are stepping stones. Failures are not defeats. They are lessons in disguise. So when you fall, don't hide. Don't give up. Whisper to yourself, I am not perfect, but I am learning. And that is enough. Because in the end, the beauty of life is not in perfection, but in the courage to keep learning.